Ever since I was little, I've had a passion for walking. Over the years, I've managed to discover some of the most beautiful and memorable parts of our wonderful country. I've been lucky enough to visit so many magical places, and now I'd love to share them with you. In this series, I'm taking you off to explore some of my favourite walks for all the family. Each one offers a manageable morning or afternoon stroll, gorgeous views, and a well-earned treat of a pub lunch or a picnic. So pull on your boots and join me, Julia Bradbury, on my best walks with a view. Today's walk is an absolute dream. In just a few hours, I'm going to be at the top of one of the Lake District's best-kept secrets, which has the most incredible views over the Borrowdale Valley, all in under 1,000 feet. Our walk starts here in the pretty village of Rosthwaite. Visited over 24 million times a year, Lakeland is a favourite getaway. Especially for certain royals, like our very own Prince Charles, who's a big supporter of the countryside and the local farmers that care for the land here. Without them, we wouldn't be treated to quite the same walk or the picnic we've got planned today. So what are we waiting for? Let's go! Hi Hazel.
Hi.
Hello, hello, what have you got for me today?
Herdwick pasty and a homemade scone. Come and flock in, enjoy your lunch.
Lovely. Now, of course, the walkers have got a lot to thank the Herdwicks for, haven't they?
I don't think they realise how much. The people that come to the lakes think it's beautiful, but the only reason it's beautiful and it's walkable is because of the Herdwicks.
The place would be overgrown, wouldn't it?
No other sheep could survive up there, and these sheep, gardeners, the gardeners of the Lake District, without people eating them and buying the meat, the sheep wouldn't need to be there, and they've been there over 1,000 years, so it's important that we keep it going.
They're also very tasty.
They are fabulous.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye. Here's what I've got in store. Leaving the village, we head towards the River Derwent and a great little stepping stone crossing. From here, we follow the riverbank towards the pretty hamlet of Seatoller, a place packed with adventure activities for anyone who fancies a quick step off route. It's a change of scenery then as we start to climb amongst the ferns, bringing us out alongside High Dote. You might just pick up a little bit of phone signal here, although much better to venture on towards Tongue Gill, where the waters have carved their way through the valley. Following the old miners' track, it's not long until we reach our final destination, Castle Crag. With fantastic views across Borrowdale, it's the perfect place to stop with our picnic. A lovely 3-hour walk. I'm leaving Rosthwaite now, and I'm going to meet up with a shepherdess called Rosie, who works just here.
Hiya.
Hi, Rosie!
There's just some sheep coming. You couldn't just turn them in, could you?
Sheep farming is one of the main industries in Lakeland and has probably been here since Viking times. Even Beatrix Potter, lover of the lakes and creator of Peter Rabbit, became an expert breeder and judge of the famous local Herdwick sheep.
Come by. Walk on. Shh, come by. Lie down. Lie down. Lie down. That'll do. Come on, leave him. That'll do. That'll do. She gets a bit lazy.
That's because she's tired with her little legs, that's why. That's what it is.
She had a hard day yesterday gathering, so... Here, that'll do, Meg.
So how long have you been shepherdessing?
About 5 years now. And I went to Newton Rig, did a 2-year course there. And then Stanley, well, I came here and I asked Stanley if he would take me on. And he was a bit wary and thinking, oh, really? It's a girl? Anyway, he said yes. And then later on, a couple of years ago, he told me, he says, he was kind of thinking he wished he hadn't, because I was a girl. And then he said it's the best thing he's done, so...
Oh, fantastic.
Quite chuffed.
Is that him?
Yeah, he's just...
There you go, look at that.
just going past, busy working.
You see, I know quite a few shepherdesses.
Right.
It's not as unusual these days as it used to be,
Yeah.
but I guess it's still quite an unusual profession to take up.
Yeah, well, they all think you're just not strong enough like boys, but at lambing time, I think a girl's better because you're more, well, you'll be slower with a yow if you're lambing it or something like that, where a boy would just yank it out, I think.
Yeah, you're a bit more compassionate, a bit more careful.
I know how much pain they're going through.
What's the ambition? What do you want to do?
Well, I'd like to have my own farm eventually, but it's just being able to do it, so I don't know. It's finding the right spot, right farm, really. Because like I'm on my own, my partner's into contracting rather than sheep work. Doesn't like sheep.
So you're going out with somebody who doesn't like sheep?
Yeah, he has a farm, but he does the digger work and stuff, so yeah, it's no good really.
I suppose you could say that's quite a good balance.
Yeah,
you can stick to the animals, he can stick to the hard
labor.
work
That way.
I'm going to leave you to your hard work then, as you've got lots to do. It's great to chat to you.
Yeah, you too.
All right,
Thank
good luck
you.
with it all.
Thanks. Hello. Meg, come here. Hello.
We're a few hundred metres down the lane from the farm now, and that sounds like it must be the River Derwent.
There's actually a bridge just there, but it's not as much fun.
It's so tranquil here, the river running on one side and a view out to the incredibly green and lush fields opposite.
I love these exposed roots along this section of the riverbank. They're so gnarled and ugly beautiful, I'd call it. Very special.
It's easy to see why this place is loved by so many. In fact, William Wordsworth, the famous poet, went so far as to say, "The River Derwent was the fairest of all the rivers." It's certainly hard to beat.
I'm heading to the small hamlet of Seatoller now, which is a lovely place to stop and explore.
It's about half an hour into the walk, and these little cottages here used to house local graphite miners and quarrymen, many of whom would have started their commute to the fells from here, the quarries and the mines being a lifeblood for the area. By the 1960s and 70s, however, Seatoller had become a gateway for walkers to the lakes, with a walkers' bus stopping here having come from Carlisle.
And now it's a centre for adventure, so the perfect place to try a little gill scrambling.
An invigorating challenge clambering and climbing up rocky mountain streams.
Would you like to get in? Nice!
No thanks, not today. Should have packed my wetsuit.
Looks like fun.
Join me after the break. The scenery just gets better and better, and I'm going to be meeting a world-famous adventurer who's much loved in these parts.
We've come to the beautiful Borrowdale Valley here in the Lake District.
I've left Seatoller just behind me, and the real treat is, with very little work, you get those mountain views. That's why the lakes are so special.
What makes it even more magnificent is just how green and lush it all is. And that's down to it being incredibly well watered.
I always like to point this out. If you're sitting at home and it's a bit dark and miserable and wet, that place just there, Seathwaite, is the wettest inhabited spot in England.
With on average over 200 wet days a year and over 140 inches of rainfall.
You feel better already. Oh, that brings back happy memories. Alfred Wainwright's Coast to Coast. 192 miles across 3 national parks. For me, slightly soggy in places. Not that far today, thank goodness.
Just a couple of miles to go, and this is where we start to climb. Wainwright, a truly iconic fell walker, inspired such a love of walking, especially here in the lakes. And for him, a walk to Castle Crag was perfect for taking back an enduring memory of the beauty and atmosphere of the Lake District.
The lakes aren't just about walkers. It's often said that the crazy sport of fell running originated here. Back in the day, it was all about farmhands and local labourers racing against each other.
And a fell running legend of our time is Billy Bland,
Really?
the current record holder for the Bob Graham Round, a 27,000 feet ascent over 42 of the highest peaks in the Lake District.
So let's talk about fell running, because there's no better man on the subject. What got you into it in the first place?
Well, you've got to understand that in this valley, like I was born in 47, so we didn't have electrics till about 1960, so there wasn't a lot to do.
So this was your playground? This was...
Must have had a feeling for it, because like the rest of my brothers up and down fells just to see if you could beat them, sort of thing. So all it's like running. And
what's the secret of good fell running, winning fell running?
Well, obviously a lot of training. My main strength, I think, was the ability to train hard. And if you're lucky enough to be a good downhill runner, then that's a real bonus. When I first started, I couldn't keep up to the top, but I always knew that if I got to the top of them, I would have a fair chance coming down. So I was lucky there. So.
What age were you when you hung up the running boots?
Oh, 50-ish. Took up cycling. I love my cycling now. Seem to get the same fix out of it as I got out of the running, as fix as we call it. There's some drug there involved, I don't know what it is, but body produces something that I'd be one grumpy old sod if I didn't get it anyway in my daily exercise. So.
There you go. Well, thank goodness for that then.
Yeah.
Billy, you're an example to us all. And on that note, I'm going to keep going.
See you.
See you, bye-bye. Where are you off to now?
Ganyam.
Ganyam.
All right.
Going home. That makes me very happy. One of my favourite fells in the world. Castle Crag in vision for the first time.
Flanked by woods and riverbanks, Castle Crag is often described as a tooth in Borrowdale's jaw. For me, that makes it the perfect location to take in everything this beautiful valley has on offer. This was once a really busy commuter trail for all the miners and the quarrymen. It had nothing to do with leisure, but at least they could enjoy the views. There's also still plenty of evidence of the miners' work across the hilltops. We can't go in for safety reasons, but fortunately we're able to get a sense of what it would have been like with a quick diversion off route. It's always very moody down mines and very cold. Just up ahead I'm meeting Rowley, a tour guide for the Honister Slate mine. I hope he hasn't been waiting too long.
This is the last working slate mine left in the country. That's quite something, isn't it?
It is actually the last working slate mine in England, and it is a remarkable place, and it contains the hardest slate in the world.
And the hardest slate to mine as well. Very tricky.
Absolutely.
Tricky to do it well. So what's the secret?
Well, the secret is, as you say, that we have to mine it, not quarry it. There has been quarrying on top of the mountain, but traditionally, and in more recent times, it's been mined, because you're standing inside. The reason it's a volcanic sandwich, and literally above your head is a huge lava slab, and you're standing in the middle of the slate sea.
I love that. I've never heard that before. A volcanic sandwich.
It is literally a volcanic sandwich.
Rowley, I feel quite at home here because I have got this slate in my bathroom, but there are lots of places all across the country where this slate is in use.
Well, taking London for an example, it's on Buckingham Palace, it's on the whole of Regent Street, Kensington Palace, Ritz Hotel, even parts of St Paul's Cathedral.
You see, I knew that I had really good taste.
Yeah, absolutely.
It hasn't always been about slate around these parts, though, has it?
No, in the Borrowdale Valley, the two important factors were the graphite and the slate. So the graphite for the world's first and greatest pencils in Keswick, and then the slate for the world's hardest slate, the oldest slate, and the best slate in the world.
I'm feeling quite smug now because I've got the slate at home and I've got the pencils.
Thanks.
Brilliant. Thanks, Rowley.
Thanks a lot. Keep your head down.
I'll do my best.
Oh, it's good to be back outside, much warmer. At nearly 3 miles in, our next stop is Tongue Gill.
What a contrast to the mine. And if there was ever a sound to induce a sense of calm, this is it.
It's not hard to see why the early 20th century adventurer Milliken Dalton set up his summer camp at Castle Crag. Known as the Cave Hotel, Milliken spent over 40 years out here in search of romance and freedom. His motto, don't waste words, jump to conclusions. It seems the sheep quite like it here as well.
What do you think of the view? Do you like living here? I'm with you. Shame about all these walkers, isn't it? Interrupting you. You silly thing. Silly thing. It's my dinner later.
can't believe we're here already at the start of our 951-foot climb to the top of Castle Crag. And who better to do that with than a man who scaled Everest? World-renowned mountaineer Sir Chris Bonington.
I hope you're keeping a spot warm for me, Sir Chris.
I certainly am.
How are you?
Anyway, lovely to see you.
It's good to see you up here. A very welcome sight, I must say.
Well, I've had a nice rest waiting for you.
I feel very lucky because this has to be, I think, my favourite summit. And I never thought I'd be sitting here with you.
Well, I think, yeah, it's my favourite summit, actually, in the Lake District. I think the view when we get to the top is one of the best you'll get anywhere. And it goes almost, I think, for the whole world, because I think the lake's in its own way. There's nowhere in the world more beautiful. There's lots of places as beautiful in different kinds of ways. And that view that we're going to get is magic.
Let's compare Castle Crag to Everest. I have not made it to the top of Everest. You obviously have. But let's just talk about those two. What's best?
Well, no, you can't compare them.
I'm joking.
I know, but they're both fantastic in their own different ways. But Castle Crag's a hell of a sight more fun.
And you can get down at the end of the day.
And you can.
And
yes,
go for a nice
absolutely.
pub dinner or a cup of tea.
And there's also some very good rock climbing on Castle Crag. And it's scary too. It's all this rock. It's all slate, and of course it was quarried years ago. And the slate, it's slippery. It's a bit unreliable. And routes on Castle Crag are scary. In fact, you know, even when I was climbing at the height of my powers, and that's going 30 years back, I was turned back once or twice on Castle Crag.
That's good to know. That's reassuring for everybody, I think. What do you still want to do?
Well, I've hit 81. I think my ambition now is to keep going and be climbing gently and walking gently in my 90s.
I think that's a good ambition. Should we continue that ambition
this
now?
gentle walk.
Let's continue that gentle walk. Head our way up Castle Crag.
Now I've got poles these days.
You've got poles, that's good for the knees.
Essential.
They are, I know, very
It's
useful.
going to keep me going into my 90s.
Useful tools. It's like a very new shiny gate.
It is, isn't it? It must be National Trust.
The slopes and the summit here have been extensively quarried, with stone upon stone left behind on spoil heaps. It goes to show how busy this place once was. And here, just before the summit, we've reached a plateau with hundreds of standing stones, neatly positioned and carefully balanced on edge. Legend has it, if these are knocked over, they will mysteriously re-erect themselves.
What do you think of the standing stones, Sir Chris?
Do you know, I've never, ever noticed them.
How many times have you been up here?
5 or 6 times.
How could you not have seen these?
I'm a very focused person, so whenever I'm on a hill, I'm burning to get to the top of it.
Get to the top.
I miss all this stuff.
Well, I'm pleased that
So
I've managed
there you are,
I've managed to
you
show
showed
you
me a
something
lot.
new. That's good. I don't think I'd be able to say that to Sir Chris Bonington.
A narrow path leads you to the summit. It's thought there used to be an ancient Iron Age hill fort up here. And what a place for it.
Oh, I'm having a moment.
This Borrowdale walk really does have it all. The beauty of the lush green valley floor and the sparkling River Derwent, to the incredible vistas from the top of this unique and rugged little peak. The highest point up here is in fact crowned by a slate cairn, a poignant memorial to the men of Borrowdale who lost their lives during the First World War.
I adored this summit for so many reasons. It has such a magical feel to it. And even though we're less than 1,000 feet up, just look at those incredible views. Derwent Water looking magnificent. Normally, to get a view like this, you'd have to walk for at least 3 times as long.
There are not a drop wasted.
Quite right too.
We can savour our drink and look at the best view in the world. Cheers! Great day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. What better place to have a glass of bubbly than the loveliest square mile in all of Lakeland?
Delicious.
champagne and pie. That's a good little bit of pie. There's potato in that.
There we are. Thank you very much.